Well, hello, my friends. We meet again. It's been a while. Where should we begin? And why not start with the first song on this album, Look to Windward? This is a classic Sleep Token style slow burn into depraved Hypnotoad-esque guitar song. Go watch my breakdown on Sleep Token's songwriting style for more of this. Now, I was absolutely hyped for this album, and this song sort of left me feeling slightly disappointed, honestly, boys. We have some really cool moments here. I love the mantra style repetition of the quote, "Will you haunt this abyss in me" line. You know, that works really well, as well as that incredible gospel sounding section that starts around 5 minutes and 35 seconds. Now, the first 3 minutes or so of the song does a great job of setting this lush and organic atmosphere that the rest of the album contains, and Vessel, as always, sounds absolutely fantastic. Now, the rest of the song, though, especially the really heavy parts, sort of feels very disjointed to me here. Sort of like the band saying, well, they expect a heavy breakdown, so here you go. Yeah, I'm mostly a fan of their lighter stuff, honestly, boys. I know this is like a metal channel, but I like their softer stuff better most of the time. I don't know, boys. Maybe I'm just like too low IQ for the song. Maybe it'll grow on me. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 here. Luckily, though, up next we have Emergence, which honestly may be my favorite Sleep Token song ever released. This song contains all that I want from a Sleep Token song. Gorgeous piano sections combined with a huge amount of varied influences and sounds. What Sleep Token does the best, in my opinion, is taking the same ideas and placing it into different musical contexts. This is highlighted here, especially on Emergence. I absolutely love how the song progresses and evolves. It's just pure perfection here. I love it. Now, of course, this is one of the 3 singles that the band released before the album, and this is the first one, actually. So of course, I've heard the song much more than any of the other songs, but one thing I noticed here, it really signaled a change in lyrical direction. Vessel seems to be speaking much more directly towards his own personal experiences here, and I don't really think it's a coincidence that they chose to call this song Emergence, and that Emergence was the first single of this album, as it seems to be Vessel sort of emerging as a person, rather than that sort of vague, lore, worshipping thing, which, I know is cool and all, but I don't really give a shit about it, right? So to me, to see Vessel being more personal and relating more of his own personal experiences is a great thing, and I love it. I mean, look at the stanza here, right? Quote, come on, out from underneath you were. Come on, it's time to emerge. Just like fantastic lyrics here. It's really clear what Vessel is trying to say. He is emerging from behind his persona, right? He is emerging from behind the character Vessel, and you're seeing the man behind it. Great stuff, amazing song. I especially love how that really heavy guitar part plays the same melody that Vessel is singing in the part that says, go ahead and wrap your arms around me. I really love that, and I really think that's cool. One of the best things that Sleep Token does. Easily. 10 out of 10 song, absolutely love it. Next up, we have Past Self, which I don't know if anyone else hears it, but the opening arpeggio sounds like it was taken straight from Kirby and the Crystal Shards on the N64. I don't know, let me know if you hear that. This song is basically like the Do You Wish That You Loved Me off of their previous album, which, by the way, I absolutely love that song. But here, Past Self is essentially just a pop song. A really nice and beautiful pop song. Catchy instruments, and of course, Vessel's great lyrics and flow stealing the show. His vocal phrasing, flow, and melodies are just absolutely out of control in this album, and I legit think he's like the best in the game right now, even rivaling some like the best pop singers easily. Great lyrics and a really great chorus on this one. Past Self coming after Emergence is no coincidence, though. Make that clear. Quote, are you gonna dance the line with me? You know it's not a game or a fantasy, and I don't even know who I used to be, but nothing is the same and things have to change now. End quote. So it's definitely sort of continuing this theme of reconciling who he is behind the persona versus the persona Vessel that he portrays to the world, that he portrays through Sleep Token, right? I don't like it as much as I liked Do You Wish That You Loved Me, but I feel like the song may be a grower. I also think I'm in the minority of people who actually like Sleep Token better when they don't, ham fist in a breakdown. But yeah, anyways. 8 out of 10 for Past Self. Enjoyed it. Now, Dangerous is the next song, and it's another just pure banger right from the first time I listened to it. The first time I went through it, I really began to notice something. Vessel must be a huge fan of The Weeknd, as this sort of like sing-songy rap style flow of lyrics is very, very Weeknd-esque. I think Andrew Huang made a whole video about this, but Vessel just really sings in like a deeper baritone voice than Weeknd's falsetto, but the influence is very, very clear to me. And the song here is basically like the perfect way to utilize Sleep Token's heavier side. It really works with these huge down-tuned guitars, providing this great canvas, which Vessel can really shine and stand out upon, right? But other than that, I love that this has this dark R&B feel and sound to the song. Dangerous lyrically, though, seems to be how this whole persona is dangerous to the actual person behind the mask. Quote, "It's like you're dangerous to me. I notice every time we meet. I feel the ground beneath my feet giving way. You've got me talking in my sleep as if you're conquering my dreams. You have awakened what's beneath again." End quote. Here, Vessel seems to be lamenting how it seems that he's lost himself to Vessel, the character, right? The stage performer. Love the conquering my dreams line. This is a really fantastic song. 9 out of 10. I feel like this one's going to grow on me a lot as well. Up next, we have the second single, Caramel. Love the music box intro here, and I love that it repeats throughout the song. It's such a unique sound to be hearing in metal-adjacent music, and we can have this argument whether or not Sleep Token is metal. I kind of tend to be on the side that they're not. They're more like art pop with metal influences, but it doesn't really matter. Caramel features what might be Vessel's most personal lyrics yet so far on this album or in general. Quote, "Count me out like sovereigns, pay back for the good times, right foot in the roses, left foot on a landmine. I'm not going to be there tripping on the grapevine. They can sing the words while I cry into the bass line." End quote. I love this imagery here. One foot on a rose bed, the other in a landmine. Even though the roses are pretty and beautiful, they still have thorns, right? So even him saying that in the roses, it still hurts, right? And you know, this imagery of the crowd singing along while he's crying over top of the bass line is just very, very powerful, man. I love it. Really great and deeply personal lyrics here. He knows that he should be grateful for the success here, but he feels bitter for the intrusiveness of his fans, as well as feeling very isolated and lonely despite the fact that he's the most popular he has ever been, right? It's sort of like this grand juxtaposition, this grand catch-22, right? Quote, "The stage is a prison," end quote. Essentially, he can't be himself now that Vessel is himself. He's stuck. He's trapped in the success, right? I love the chorus here as well. Vessel's phrasing is just so god tier, especially on the word caramel. Although, I'll be honest with you guys, I think the heavy section here actually kind of takes away from the song. The faster double kick section with the screaming works, but the weird sort of like stumbling riff beforehand, I don't know, just feels kind of clumsy. Not the biggest fan of that, but it doesn't ruin the song that much to me. Love almost every second of the song, 9.5 out of 10. Up next, we have the title track of the album, Even in Arcadia. The way he writes reminds me a lot of Kurt Cobain, not in like vocal phrasing or temp or anything like that, but in the way that he often uses these sort of like nonsensical and very strange metaphors but strings them all together in a way that it makes sense and it's crystal clear. It's just great. Quote, "I am the final dawn, I am the flood, and what was missing from those scriptures will be written in my blood. Dig down into the mud. What good is all this talk of wings when there's nothing left above?" End quote. Bone-chillingly great lyrics here. Love it. Arcadia refers to a sort of like unspoiled wilderness or utopia of some sort. And this song, with its extremely lush and organic sounding instruments, you know, wind chimes and pianos, is just so beautifully organic, and it absolutely looks and sounds like that beautiful tree on the cover. Love this song, and it seems here that he is sort of leaving the previous lyrical themes behind, bringing with it the rest of the album, after which we are more talking about a failed relationship. It's sort of like bridging the gap between the two. Really love it. Even with all the success, money, and all that goes with it, it seems that the relationship in Arcadia, in the best time, in the best circumstances, in utopia, right, with all the money and fame, success, it didn't work out, right, even in Arcadia. Perhaps the character Vessel and the secrecy and sort of like reclusiveness of it all caused strain in the relationship. Maybe that's why it's dangerous, right? Great song. Immensely enjoyable, and it reminds me a lot of Florence and the Machine, especially off their album Ceremonials. I also love that the song's climax isn't, you know, Hypnotoad 8-string guitars. It's Vessel giving this really, really powerful, perhaps his most powerful clean singing note ever, right before the violin appears. Love the song. 9 out of 10. Provider is the next song here, and this one, perhaps even more so than Dangerous, sounds like a Weekend song. Just imagine, you know, Vessel singing in a falsetto over this. It really is like The Weeknd, you know what I mean? And I want to like the song. You know, there are a lot of cool moments here. I like the line, quote, "I want to be a provider," and the way he sings that, as well as the little repeating synths motifs that go over the whole time. I also love this sort of laid back, kind of maybe a little bit offbeat approach to his vocal phrasing here. It still works, like he's still on beat. It's just kind of laid back, really cool and interesting. A few kind of corny lines, as well as another, you know, gotta give him a breakdown, feeling kind of breakdown. Kind of ruins this song for me. I don't know, maybe I'm just, again, too low IQ for this song, too room temperature IQ, I don't know. Now, lyrically though, this is very interesting. Here it seems maybe he has reignited some old fling, or reunited with a person like that. Maybe this was the person he was with before Sleep Token blew up, and maybe he was not into position to be a provider, you know, mentally, emotionally, and maturity wise, right? However, years later, now he does want to be a provider. He feels like he's able to. Maybe he's finally feeling like he is worthy to be a provider here. Quote, "And I told you I can get it so right. Even in the daylight, I can give you what you want," end quote. Right, so even outside of Vessel, you know, outside of Sleep Token, in the daylight, he can be the provider, the rock, the support for this person. Love the lyrical message here and the flow and the delivery. I don't know, maybe the song will grow on me, but for now, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. Damocles is next, the last single before the album came out, and I absolutely adore this song. Vessel's lyrics here are absolutely perfect, and the sounds that the song evolves through is just so good, man. We even get a short little drum solo from 2 here, which aside from some of the breakdowns and the verse in Caramel, his presence has been very sorely missed. Sounds great. In my mind, Damocles is just a perfect ballad. Gorgeous chord progressions and piano playing. Such a beautifully sung song and just a great, fantastic chorus. I even love the sort of self-aware message in the lyrics here. Quote, "I know these chords are boring," end quote. You know, this is what I want, right? I want more of Vessel. I want more of who he is inside, right? Such deeply personal lyrics about how he is anxious about how this new success could be taken from him in an instant. This is like the sort of Damocles hanging over him, right? Quote, "When the river runs dry and the curtain is called, how will I know if I can't see the bottom? Come up for air and choke on it all. No one else knows that I got a problem. What if I can't get up and stand tall? What if the diamond days are all gone? And who will I be when the empire falls? Wake up alone and I'll be forgotten," end quote. Easily the best chorus on the album. Again, because it just plays this character on stage, right? If he does stop, will he be forgotten, as nobody knows who he is at the heart of this, right? And if all they know is this character, when it's gone, will he be forgotten, right? This is the sort of Damocles of fame, right? It's hanging heavy over him right now, especially due to the fact that, you know, fame is a very fickle mistress in general, but when you're famous playing a character, it really sort of hangs heavy. I also love how it's sort of like a meta sort of Damocles as well. As the first time I was listening to this song, I was expecting a breakdown to come, so like an 8-string sort of Damocles over top of it. Love this song. Easy 10 out of 10. So good. Gethsemane is the next song, and right away, Gethsemane is the name of the olive grove where Jesus is said to have prayed the night he was arrested. So keep that in mind as we go through the song here. And Gethsemane is easily the most interesting track guitar-wise here. I love how we are given this gorgeous sort of math rock section here. I would love to see more Sleep Token songs in this direction. You know, take in other influences, not just like gent and the 8-string stuff. Like, give us other like bits of metal, like post-hardcore even, man. I love it all. Just give me it all, man. I just love Vessel. Let him sing over as many different genres as possible, bro. I also love how the song ends in this sort of like trap-like vibe, right? So we kind of get this whole rise into the middle, and then it sort of ends with this sort of flowing, you know, freeform consciousness stream of like rapping kind of. It's really cool, and it just has a great vibe the whole time. This song here also seems to be about a relationship ending, I think due to the pressures of the new life Vessel found himself wrapped in here. Quote, "I'm caught up in the person I tried to turn myself into for you. Someone who didn't mind the push-pull parlor games. Someone who wasn't always crying on the journey back. Someone who didn't feel the low blows either way," end quote. And so this sort of brings it back to Provider, right? How he's sort of feeling like maybe back then he was like taken advantage of and wasn't mature enough, but now he is. But now he's sort of realizing that this person you know, she was playing with him the whole time, right? She would play these games, parlor games, he called them, right? Cheap games, basically. And he would be crying on the way back from tours and stuff here. It was really, really a very, very deeply personal message that this song is getting across. And Sleep Token have been touring quite a bit here, so him saying he wasn't crying on the way back is like a very, very, very heavy line. This may be Vessel's best song ever lyrically here. I like how at the end he keeps referring to cigarette ash and smoke, right? Cigarette smoke is such a powerful and lingering smell that I'm sure if your significant other smoked around you, it would linger on your clothes for a while, you know, reminding you of every time you smell it, right? Smell is one of the memories most connected with memories. It's interesting. I love that line. And this song seems to end in a rather sort of bitter note, like angry. Maybe him realizing that the relationship was just toxic for him the whole time. In the title of the song, perhaps referencing how he was maybe like one night away from spending his life with her. Gethsemane. I don't know. Leave your opinions down below. I'm curious to think why he entitled the song and what you guys think it is. Great song, 9.5 out of 10. Now, Infinite Bass is the last and final song here, immediately hitting us with the sort of Sleep Token formula of a gentle intro, with Vessel absolutely slaying the vocals over top of it. He's just so good, man. I can't say that enough. This is another great example of the Sleep Token formula being done perfectly. Such a fantastic evolution in sound for the whole song going through. This is how you do it. This is how you use the heavy instrumentals, right? The heavy parts feel perfectly aligned with the song as well. They feel like they should. Nay, they feel like they need to be here, right? I need the heavy instruments here. It fits the song. It fits the emotions. I love it. To express the violence in the emotions that Vessel is feeling. I think, though, if he is going to scream, he should just scream and not have it be drenched in effects. I'm getting pretty tired, honestly, of modern bands, you know, coding their screams in layers upon layers of effects and distortion. It loses a lot of power and gravity of these scream vocals. I think Spirit Box does it well. They never almost do that, but a lot of bands do, and I really think that doesn't work very well. Lyrically, though, the song feels a lot like acceptance through all this, right? Quote, "I'm so tired inside I could sleep through a landslide, but I'm finally here and I'm not leaving this time." End quote. Perhaps there was a few times when he considered quitting this whole thing, you know, perhaps during the implosion of the relationship, but he leaves us with the line of, quote, "Teeth of God, blood of man, I will be what I am." End quote. I would not be surprised if this was the last masked album of Sleep Token, honestly. It really seems like Infinite Bass in a sort of admission of, you know, I'm done with this. I am who I am, and you can bleed me dry for as long as you want, but I am going to be me the whole time, right? It sort of feels like Vessel saying, this is me. This is what I'm going to be singing about. You need to accept this, right? And I don't know. It's just such a great ending song. I love how it ends. What a fantastic song. It really just caps off a great album. Anyways, that's my prediction. I think this is going to be the last mass Sleep Token album. Great song, 9 out of 10. All in all, a fantastically enjoyable album. I would honestly probably listen to Vessel sing like pretty much anything at this point. Bro is just too good. I'm going to give this album a very, very solid 8.5 out of 10 overall score. Highly recommend you listen to this. Cheers, boys.